The Boston Bruins can clinch the President's Trophy and home ice advantage throughout the playoffs with a win tonight and a Carolina loss. And we're going to talk about how David Pastrnak can become the all-time leader in goals for this franchise. Let's get into it on a new episode of Locked On Boston Bruins.
You're Locked On Bruins, your daily podcast on the Boston Bruins. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, Bruins fans, and welcome back to the Locked On Boston Bruins podcast. I'm your host, Ian McLaren, and this is a daily show where we discuss all things Spoked B. Today is Tuesday, March 28th, and I want to thank you so much for making Locked On Bruins part of your day every day. We are free and available wherever you get podcasts, including YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. And we're almost ready to turn the calendar to the month of April, and yet I'm still out here wearing a toque. Very depressing. I've got a new Bruins cap in the mail on the way, and I'm excited to rock that with some warmer weather. What can warm our hearts today is a President's Trophy win. It's possible for tonight. We'll talk about tonight's game against the Nashville Predators as well as the clinching scenario. Take a look at the Eastern Conference power rankings as well. First, I want to remind you that you can find the podcast on Twitter, Instagram at LockedNHLBruins. You can find me, my dad jokes, and hockey tweets at Ian C. McLaren. And I wanted to talk off the top about David Pastrnak reaching the 50-goal mark the other day. 51, in fact, on the season. And he now ranks 8th on the Bruins all-time goals list. He was tied with Ken Hodge at 9 prior to the game against the Carolina Hurricanes, scored 2. He's now at 291, and he is behind Cam Neely, who sits in 7th at 344. He's next on the list to catch. There's 2 other active players on the list. Patrice Bergeron at 427. Brad Marchand at 371. Those guys will certainly add to their totals. But at this point in his career, David Pastrnak is on a trajectory to become the leading goal scorer in Boston Bruins history. Number 1 all-time at the moment is Johnny Bucyk, who has 545 career goals with the Boston Bruins. Phil Esposito, second at 459. David Pastrnak has played 583 career games. He's got 291 goals. Let me do some quick math on my calculator app here. 545 minus 291 equals 254. That's how many goals David Pastrnak needs in order to match Johnny Bucyk's franchise goal record. Let's assume he doesn't score again this season, which is going to happen, but let's assume it doesn't. He just signed an 8-year contract. 254 divided by 8 means he needs to score an average of 31.75 goals in each of those 8 seasons in order to match the record. Right now, he's 26 years old, prime of his career. You got to think he is going to push for 50 at least a couple more times. He'll have some 40-goal seasons in there as well. Probably a few years out from him plateauing at 30. For his career so far, he has 291 goals in 500 183 games. That's an average of 0.5 goals per game. So that is, of course, 40.92 goal per game average over his career so far. 51 this season. He had 40 last season, 48 2 years ago, 38 in 66 games as a 22-year-old. He came out guns blazing, and there's every indication that he's not just going to break Johnny Bucyk's record for franchise goals, but he's going to smash it. He's easily going to top the franchise mark of 545, and he could even push for 600, 700. Who knows? Sky's the limit, honestly, for David Pastrnak, who, again, is only 26 years old, soon to be 27. He'll turn 27 on May 25th, hopefully in the midst of a successful playoff run for the Boston Bruins. But I'm here to say right now that there's no doubt in my mind that he will indeed be the franchise leader in goals when his career is complete. And 88 will join 37, 63, possibly 46, 73, 33, 40 in the rafters for the Boston Bruins. Not exactly a hot take, but it just shows you how good he's been so far. The somewhat modest numbers that he needs over the course of his 8-year deal. He's being paid a lot of money to score a lot of goals. And to think he needs to only average 32 over that 8-year contract, it's without question he's going to hit that mark. We're going to talk about the clinching scenario for the Boston Bruins tonight, as well as the Eastern Conference power rankings and a preview of tonight's game against the Nashville Predators. But first, a quick word about today's sponsor, which is the FanDuel Sportsbook. FanDuel is the official sportsbook of Locked On and the NBA. The NCAA tournament also has reached the Final Four stage, and there's no better place to get in on the action than FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, FanDuel is giving new customers a no-sweat first bet of up to $1,000. That's $1,000 back in bonus bets if your first bet doesn't win. Go to FanDuel.com/lockedon to sign up today to claim your no-sweat first bet. There you can wager on everything from money line to point spreads, which team will be cutting down the net next Monday. It's all on an app that's safe, secure, super easy to use. So don't miss your chance at the no-sweat first bet of up to $1,000 when you join FanDuel today. Go to FanDuel.com/lockedon to sign up and make every moment more with FanDuel. Boston Bruins in action tonight against the Nashville Predators. They have already become the fastest team in NHL history to reach 100 points in a season, to reach 50 wins. And the Bruins, who sit at 57, 11-5, 119 points, can secure the #1 seed in the Eastern Conference, as well as the President's Trophy, which would give them home ice advantage throughout the playoffs, with a win over Nashville and a Carolina loss tonight in regulation, which is very possible because the Hurricanes are playing the Tampa Bay Lightning. So we need a Hurricanes loss in regulation and a Bruins win. Regardless of whether or not it happens tonight, it's going to happen at some point in the near future. The Bruins, 119 points, 815 point percentage. They are 16 points up on the Carolina Hurricanes in the Eastern Conference. and in the league standings. Nobody in the West has yet to hit 100 points. Carolina, New Jersey have reached that mark in the East. Two other teams clinched playoff spots last night, the Toronto Maple Leafs and the New York Rangers. Those are your top 5 teams in the Eastern Conference at the moment. 5 of those teams are in the top 6 in the NHL standings right now. When we get down further in the East, Tampa Bay has yet to clinch a playoff spot, but that will happen soon. They've got 90 points with 8 games remaining. They're 5 points up on the New York Islanders and the Pittsburgh Penguins, 11 points clear of the Florida Panthers. When we look at the wild card race at the moment, Penguins, Islanders pulling away from the Buffalo Sabres, Ottawa Senators, who are still kicking around, but 5 points back of the Pittsburgh Penguins for the second wild card spot. Florida Panthers, who've lost 4 in a row, 3 points back of Pittsburgh with 1 more game played. So Pittsburgh really seems to have a hold on that second wild card spot, mostly because Florida has been faltering as of late. And for me, that's an ideal matchup for the Boston Bruins in the first round. You have to worry about Sidney Crosby, Evgeny Malkin, Chris Letang, but this team has not been great this season. Their goaltending suspect, despite DeSmith playing very well the other night. But if Pittsburgh can hold on to that second wildcard spot, that's ideal for the Boston Bruins, in my opinion. Seeing as though the Islanders have Ilya Sorokin, not too interested in playing him in the postseason. And the Panthers, I don't think, are really going to make much more noise. It would take a big collapse. Well, not a huge collapse, but the Penguins have a game in hand, and they're 3 points up on the Florida Panthers. So the top 8 teams by way of point percentage in the East at the moment: Boston, Carolina. Boston's a full percentage ahead of them, 815. Carolina's at 715. That means the Bruins have accrued 81.5% of all available points this season. Hurricanes, 71.5. If you're grading as a teacher, A plus, B plus maybe for the Hurricanes. Then the Devils at 676. Maple Leafs, 664. Rangers, 658. The Lightning at 608. Islanders, 567. Penguins at 562. And then you have the Panthers, Sabres, Senators, Capitals, Red Wings following in line. If you're going by goal differential, the Bruins, number 1, plus 118. It's insane. Carolina, second at plus 53. A lot of talk about the 1-8 playoff format versus the divisional format. Brad Marchand saying the other day that he wishes it would go back. You would have different matchups based on that old format right now. It would be still Boston, Pittsburgh, Carolina, the Islanders, but then it would be New Jersey, Tampa, and Toronto, New York, instead of New York, New Jersey, Toronto, Tampa. So that's a bit of an interesting wrinkle there. Tampa well behind the Rangers, 6 points back with 1 more game played. So yeah, it does affect things. I too wish it would go back, but such as it is at the moment. Boston Bruins clearly in first place, and they have a chance to clinch the President's Trophy with the win tonight over the Nashville Predators. And we will take a quick look at that game here coming up. I want to thank you once again for making Locked On Bruins part of your day every single day. The podcast is free and available on your favorite podcast platform, whether it's Apple, Spotify, Pocket Cast is what I use. Please do smash that subscribe button, and also be sure to subscribe on YouTube. There'll be some bonus content on there as breaking news comes up, as well as post-game instant reaction during the week and after every playoff game. The Nashville Predators come into this one still with some playoff hopes alive. They've had a ton of injuries lately, including Philip Forsberg, which is detrimental to my fantasy team here in the playoffs. They are currently 5 points back of the Winnipeg Jets for the second wildcard spot in the West, but with 2 games in hand. So they're going to be kind of in desperation mode tonight, trying to not only make up some ground, but also shake off a 2-game losing streak that they're on at the moment. Boston coming into this one red hot, 7 wins in a row, 8-2 over their last 10. And Boston won the previous meeting between these two teams by a score of 5-0 back in February. That was a game that was backstopped by Jeremy Swayman, 28 saves, Marchand, Craig Smith, Bergeron, Derek Forbort, and Trent Frederick, the scorers in that one. Hot scores for the Predators over the last 5 games. Tyson Barrie, who was acquired from the Edmonton Oilers prior to the deadline, has 6 points over his last 5 games, including 4 assists. Matt Duchene with 3 goals, although I think he was injured in their previous game, so he might not be in the lineup. For the Bruins, Jake DeBrusk, 6 points in his last 5 games. David Pastrnak leading in goals with 4. Connor Clifton has 4 assists as well. And we'll get a read here later on this morning as to who may be in, who may be out. Again, the Bruins, despite the opportunity to clinch the President's Trophy, will be resting guys. Guys will be in and out of the lineup. Don't be too stressed about this guy's dealing with this illness or this ailment. These are just kind of reasons to give them some rest, and there's no need to panic about injuries until game 1 of the playoffs. We'll see who's in and out there. The Bruins, again, number 1 in penalty kill, 12th on the power play. Nashville's 26th on the man advantage, so that could be a difference here as well. 11th on the penalty kill. Their goals for is 2.76, ranked 28th. They're a pretty solid defensive team. All-world goaltender in UC Saros, but the Bruins remain first in goals allowed per game and second in goals for per game. So this is one that the Bruins should win, no matter who's in the lineup. If they can beat Carolina the other night with a lot of depth guys in the lineup, then surely, please don't call me Shirley, they should beat the Nashville Predators and the Columbus Blue Jackets coming up on Thursday. Again, the Bruins can clinch tonight. They're 6 wins away from setting the all-time wins record, and I'm looking forward to this one. Hopefully they can take care of business. That's it for today's episode, my friends. Nice and short one for you. Again, David Pastrnak on track to become the leading scorer in franchise history. The Bruins can clinch the President's Trophy tonight with a win over the Predators. I know it was a heavy start to the week yesterday. Just want to remind you all that this is a safe space. Everybody's welcome. That it's important to take care of yourselves, to take care of each other. And please find someone to talk to today if you need to. Stay off Twitter if you need to. Just do whatever you need to take care of yourselves. And also keep an eye out for those who may be needing some extra love today. All right, that's it. Thanks again for making Locked On Bruins part of your day. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And we'll talk to you again here tomorrow with a look at tonight's game, as well as some mailbag questions that have been trickling in. All right, take care, friends.